that can a Muslim lawyer defend a criminal? Defending a criminal and a person who has done a crime is not allowed in Islam. The same verse of the Quran of Surah Ma'idah, chapter number 5, verse number 2, towards the end, when it says, help each other in bir and taqwa, in virtue and righteousness, it continues and says that do not help one another in sin and in transgression. So if you are supporting someone for a crime or someone who has done something haram, then you are supporting him in sin and transgression, which is not permitted. So for a Muslim lawyer, if he knows his client has done a crime, has robbed or has killed someone, or whatever crime is done which is not permitted by law or which is not permitted in Sharia, it is not permitted for him to fight his case. There may be exceptions that the crime is not a crime according to Islam and is a crime according to the law of that country. So in such cases, it's okay. It's a crime according to the law of the country, but not a crime according to Sharia. Then the Muslim lawyer can fight the case, it's permitted. But otherwise, generally, if the person has done a sin or broken the law, which is against the Sharia, and if he knows he's broken the law, he cannot support him, he cannot defend him. And the Quran further says in Surah Nisa, chapter number 4, verse number 105, that be not an advocate of a person who betrays the trust. And the verse continues. It says further in Surah Nisa, chapter number 4, verse number 107, that confined not, struggle not for a person who betrays his own self. For Allah loves not those who give in to injustice and crime. So based on these two verses of the Quran also, you cannot support a person who is involved in crime or injustice. You cannot support someone who has betrayed the trust. And our beloved Prophet said, it mentions Sahih Bukhari, volume number 1, hadith number 177, that the Prophet said that if you see anything which is wrong, you should stop it or change it with your hand. If you cannot, then change it with the tongue. If you cannot, then curse in your heart and agree it is wrong. Then you will be the lowest level of a believer, a mu'min. So if you know your client has done something wrong, you cannot support him. What you can guide him is give yourself up, agree with your mistake, or take the punishment. What you can do, if he agrees with the mistake, then you can fight his case saying he has done a sin, and you can request the judge to give him less punishment. That is permitted. If he has agreed with his mistake, you as a lawyer can present him saying he has done the sin, but please give him lesser punishment. That is permitted. But to prove that he has not done the sin or has not done the crime, that is prohibited. So for a lawyer, it's very important that if he's practicing, whether in a country which is a non-Muslim country, which has got man-made laws, or whether for a lawyer in a Muslim country following the Sharia, there are a few things which are very important to be noted. As a lawyer, you cannot fight a case of a person who's a criminal or a person who's done a sin. It's not permitted. You cannot defend him. As per the Quran, Surah Ma'idah chapter 5 verse number 2, Surah Nisa chapter 4 verse number 105, and Surah Nisa chapter 4 verse number 107. Second, you cannot fight for someone who's trying to deceitfully usurp the rights of some other human being. It's not permitted. Point number 3, you cannot fight a case and use false witnesses, make false evidence just to win his case. All these are prohibited. So as a lawyer, you have to be careful that you have to only select those cases which are on the haqq, which are on the truth, and the person is actually innocent. And number 2, you should not use deceit or wrong evidence or false evidence or lies to win your argument. Normally, whenever a case takes place, either the person is on the right or is on the wrong. He's on the truth or he's on the falsehood. And there are two lawyers fighting the case. One is for the person, one is against the person. So safely you can say always 50% of the time, on average, the lawyer is fighting a case of a person who's in the wrong. And approximately 50% is the time where the lawyer is fighting for a person who's on the haqq. So if you're a Muslim lawyer, you'll have to realize that you cannot take all the cases, irrespective whether you're fighting or you're practicing as a lawyer in a Muslim country or in a non-Muslim country. All your clients should be genuine. Just because you're good with the law, you're good with debating, you're good with arguing, you cannot take up a case where he has done a crime and with your skills prove him innocent. That is haram. Besides he getting a sin, even you'll be getting a sin because you're supporting someone who is a criminal, and this is not accepted in Islam. So you should understand that if you're taking up the profession of being a lawyer, on average, 50% of the cases you will not be able to accept. So if you think you're going to become a lawyer only for earning money, my advice to you would be don't become a lawyer. If you know that you're going to be on the haqq, you're going to be on the truth, and you'll see to it that you'll refuse all the cases in which the client is a criminal or the client is not on the haqq, because almost all the times the lawyer knows very well before he fights the case for a client whether the client is a criminal or not, whether the client is on the haqq or not. And then he tries to win the case irrespective whether he is a criminal or not. So as a Muslim lawyer, you in no way can defend a person who is a criminal. You should have the guts and you should have the heart to give up a case, even if you know that you can win his case. If he is in the wrong, you cannot. You can only fight a case in which he is on the truth and if he has not done any crime. Today we find that most of the top lawyers who are good in arguing and presenting the case, they can even win and prove a person who is a criminal as an innocent person. And the more you can do this, higher is your fees. That is the reason you find that most of these criminals and those who have done wrong, they have the best of lawyers who are very good with arguing. This is not permitted in Islam. And I remember during school days and during my days in college, I was an expert in arguing. And when we used to have discussions or debates amongst friends, I could prove black as white, I could prove white as black, and I was expert in debating. After I met Sheikh Ahmed Deedat in 1987 and I got involved in the field of dawah, now I'm using these skills, alhamdulillah, for defending Islam. As far as defending Islam is concerned, alhamdulillah, you don't have to bother at all, because if it's a verse of the Quran, if it's a part of a Sahih Hadith, as a Muslim we believe it's the haqq. So we don't have to at all worry whether should we defend it or not. We have to defend it with all your struggle, your jihad, your intelligence, because it's the haqq. In other cases, you may not know whether your client is a criminal or not. So alhamdulillah, after I met Sheikh Ahmed Deedat, I got involved in the field of dawah and I've become a lawyer for Islam. And it has become my passion. It has become my way of life of defending Islam against those people who attack Islam. And alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, summa alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has helped and has really blessed, mashallah. That's when we give a training program, in the dawah training program, we show the skills of debating. And in skills of debating, we may do a mock debate where two groups, one group is saying that the world is spherical, the other group is saying that the world is flat, and with our skills we can show that even if what is false, we can prove it right because of skills. We should not do this in life, but in training we can. One group says 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, the other group says 2 plus 2 is not equal to 4, and if you have the debating skills, you can win irrespective of which side you are on. So this is the training session. But we tell them, never use the skills for defending anything which is wrong. And alhamdulillah, summa alhamdulillah, there's nothing better than being a lawyer for the cause of Islam, that is being a da'i, And that is the best profession, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, in Surah Fussilat, chapter number 41. Verse number 33, where Allah says that وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَالَ مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلُوا صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Who is better in speech than one who invites to the way of thy Lord, works righteousness, and says that I am a Muslim?